Hey everyone, I hope you guys are all doing well today. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on the new series that I'm starting about Watercolor Wednesday. And in this video particularly, I'm just going to be talking about supplies. It's a little easy video today. Some essential supplies that you should invest in. And some supplies at work you can manage your budget, and it doesn't really matter if they're expensive. But yeah, so I'm going to be getting more into that. So let's just jump right in. My name is Jawaria. You might know me from Instagram as a concept planner, but today I'm here with a watercolor video. So I do have an Instagram for my watercolor specific hobby or artistry, I guess. It's called Mahanur Studio, so you can follow that if you're interested as well. But other than that, I usually make planner videos, and I'm starting to create like art related videos as well, trying to incorporate that into my channel because that is who I am. So just putting it all in there. So today we're going to be talking about supplies, mainly the most essential supplies you will need to ever get started with watercolor. I wouldn't say it's a lot. And yeah, so why watercolor? I think it's a really good investment. Like, you can get a pan of watercolors, a pan set, which is like this, and I think it'll last you a really long time. Hold on. Like, you can get one of these kind of sets and it'll last you a really long time. And even with the tubes, like I think I bought my tube sets I think 2 years ago maybe. I don't regularly watercolor. I've started doing that like this year, and I've only had to replace a couple of colors and buy a couple of tubes, and I haven't had the little tube. So this is my current watercolor palette that I use like on a daily basis. And yeah, it has some of my favorite colors in there, and we'll get into that later. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about was something that you might want to invest a little money. I would say the only thing you would want to invest money in is paper if you're starting off with like a budget, or if you're trying to find ways to save money. Okay, so I was saying you should like really invest in a high quality paper. That would be 100% cotton and not something that's a mixture of stuff. So what I would recommend is I would get Arches. Yeah, so I would invest in Arches watercolor paper, and you can find this on Amazon. I believe it is a little expensive, but if you want to buy like paper in bulk, maybe order it from Blick. I think that'll be a little better. You can just have paper on hand and you won't really need to go again and again buy paper. So if you can't find Arches on Amazon, I suggest getting Canson Heritage. It's essentially like the same paper in a way, but I think this one is a little bit more expensive, but it's really high quality paper. I haven't really painted in these watercolors. This one I have, but yeah, like I rip out the paper and then put them on like a board and do kind of like that kind of stuff. So yeah, these are like my two recommendations. Why? Because I personally use them, and I don't really mess around with some things. Like, if I think something works for me, I stick to it, and these two have been really like by my side, I guess, if you want to say. So I don't really go around buying other paper and trying them out or anything like that. So that's my suggestion. And like, I sell my artwork, so these are the papers I use if I ever want to make art for other people. This is another good example. Like, it's actually really good watercolor paper, but the only thing I have issues with is that it's a watercolor block. I don't like watercolor blocks. So the block it's glued down on all four sides. If you can see, it goes like glued down. So it's glued down here, it's glued down here, it's partially glued down here. Like, you can see there's like a space right here, like there. It's not glued, and it's glued here. So what this does is you don't have to put tape around the paper, and you don't have to stick it to something so it doesn't warp or anything. I personally don't like these because they usually end up ripping with me. I don't know why. That's just my experience with them. But this is really good paper as well. This is also for like pads. So this is like a pad of paper, and you will have to take out the paper from here. So you would take out the paper, like you would have to rip it from here. And yeah, so they do have pads as well. So like, do a little bit of research and figure out what paper works best for you. And I would suggest you invest a little bit of more money on paper rather than other supplies, because like you can replace the other supplies over time as they get, like your brushes, as they get frayed, you can replace it with like one brush. And it, I mean, in the long run, it will cost a little bit more, but you're still kind of saving money when you're starting out with your supplies, if that makes sense. And then yeah, so continuing on paper, this is more like sketchbook related. This has been my favorite sketchbook ever. I don't do sketchbooks, like I just don't, because I'm a left-hander, so it's really hard for me to like, I'll paint on this page perfectly, but then when it comes to painting on this page, it's really hard. But this sketchbook is amazing. Like, I don't know, the quality of the paper and how the paints flow on it and how it dries and everything. It's just been a really good sketchbook, and I've been painting in it a lot, so you can see. Like, you can see all of this in here. I have been painting like a lot in it, and it writes. Like, this is a normal pen that I used on here, and it's actually pretty decent. Like, on some papers the texture is so much that it doesn't you know, want to write on it and stuff like that. So I was really amazed by this paper. And like, even this, I use gouache on this one, and it worked really great with gouache. It does, like, if you put masking tape around the corners, it doesn't really peel or rip. I think I ripped on this one a little bit, but you know, I'll take it. That says a work in progress. Anyways, so I will have all the links to these down below. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is there's two kinds of watercolor paper. So there's cold press, which is the one with like a little texture. I don't know if you can see. Hold on. Okay, so this is like really taped down. Let me see if you can see it in the arches paper. So I don't know if you can see, like, there's a texture on the paper. Like, it's a little bumpy, has crevices and stuff like that. So yeah, like, if you are interested in like a paper that's you know, the watercolor paper that you see maybe in photos or something, it's usually cold press watercolor paper, sorry. And yeah, just play around, see if you like hot press, see if you like cold press. Hot press will be completely smooth, and I'm not too huge of a fan of hot press because it doesn't really grasp the paint, and doesn't really hold on to the paint, I would say. But it's more, I think hot press is more equated for gouache. But yeah, so yeah, just paper, I would say play around a little bit, get samples from, you can get samples, like sample sheets from, I think Blick, it has like single sheets. I'm not sure, but I will link stuff down below. Like, look at the links down below. I'll also link a bunch of stuff where you might be able to get like samples, or just, you know, try out a few paper and see which one you like best. And this is a sketchbook by Leuchtturm. I wouldn't recommend it, but I think it's really cute. I'm not sure how it holds up on watercolor, but I did gouache in it, so it's like, you know, it kind of worked. I think it's a really cute sketchbook. The paper quality isn't like what am I saying? It's not thick paper like watercolor paper. It's not a watercolor sketchbook, but it does hold on. Like, this is gouache, it didn't come through. So there's another if you really want like a cute kind of sketchbook, that's this one. I like it personally. I like the color of it, and I only bought it for the color so I can paint on this with gouache, and I thought it turned out really cute. So there's that. Okay, so with paper, on like a little summary on paper, invest first of all, and find a paper that works for you. So like for me, cold press paper works for me. For some people, hot press paper works. So it's basically preference. You will have to play around a little bit and figure that out on your own. Obviously, I can't do that for you, but I'm just giving you suggestions of what you might like or you might not like, and just like all your options out there. Okay, so now I think we should get into like other basic supplies rather than getting on brushes, and then I'll save the watercolor paint for last. So the things I like to use, like with my art and stuff like that, first of all, are masking tape. So these are this is not masking tape, it's washi tape, but they do have like really cheap quality painter's tape that's not really sticky. I would suggest the one that's not sticky because then it doesn't rip your paper. And if it does like grasp onto your paper, what you can do is like use a heat gun and you can take off the tape as well. But this particular washi tape has been working for me pretty great, so I'm not going to be switching from that, because I've had the masking tape that I used, it was a cheap quality masking tape. I don't even know what it was, but it's like this blue painter's tape that I use, and it rips the paper, and it just broke my heart. So I went to washi tape. I went about using washi tape that I had more decorative washi tapes. Started using those, and it was like really working pretty good for me. So I bought these from Mr. Pen. I will link these down below, and the Amazon links will be affiliated. So if you do purchase something from those, I will save a few bucks off that. Okay, so washi tape, and then this is a kneaded eraser. These are cool because if you want to hold on, let me open it first. Okay, so these are cool, like if you want to erase an area. Hold on, how do I do this? Let me use this. So you're gonna see my drawing skills today. You guys ready for that? Okay, so let's say, does this even have that? Okay, it has that. Let's say I drew a heart. Okay, a couple of hearts, but guess what, I don't really like them. So it does work as an eraser, obviously not a good quality one, but yeah, it erases. And you can also lighten these, so it lightens out the line. I drew really hard, but you shouldn't draw really hard, but it lightens out the lines so you can not see them under watercolor, because watercolor is transparent, and once you put paint over it, it will kind of set itself in there, and you won't be able to erase. Maybe a little bit, but you won't be able to erase the line. And yeah, you'll see the line, it looks ugly. Trust me, I've been there. So I would get one of these kind of erasers. It really helps out. You can shape it and stuff, you can shape it like this, make it even pointy. So if you want to say if you created a ball, and then this is a really bad example, just saying, but if you wanted to create highlights, see, it lightens out the area. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, but it lightens up the area, and then it doesn't matter if it's dirty. I don't know if you can see the graphite there, but here you can probably see it. So what you do is you knead it. That's what's called a kneaded eraser, and there you go. Ta-da! A new blank set. And good. And it's also a great stress tool, just playing around with it, bringing so much joy. Anyways, so I would get a kneaded eraser as well as a normal eraser, because you're not using your kneaded eraser for everything. This is, I believe it's a Staedtler, the stick type. The only reason I have a stick type, I don't think it's a really good eraser, but the only reason I have a stick one is because my kids like to eat my erasers. So the block erasers, the Staedtler ones are pretty good. You can get the Staedtler block, that's a rectangle kind of eraser. You can get those are pretty good. But I have this one, so it fits with my pencils, and nobody really notices it, because my kids eat my erasers. They'll literally chop it up into pieces. It's crazy. Pencils I would recommend are these two. This is the most basic pencil you can find, and I've been using these forever. See, this one doesn't have an eraser. Yeah, this one does because it's been guarded and saved, but this one doesn't have an eraser. So these pencils are probably the basic pencils you can find out there. I think this is 0.7. Yeah, which is a little thicker. This is why I got the 0.5 one. Yeah, this is a pencil. Honestly, I don't think you need a really fancy pencil, but this would do. It's 10 bucks, I think, and it's really, it really helps with the holding and everything, grip and everything. But yeah, I wouldn't go into the market looking for a $30 pencil because in the long run you won't be using a pencil. Like once you get good at drawing, once you get good at understanding watercolor, you won't really be using a pencil unless if you're drawing like specific figures or something like loose florals. You don't need a pencil for that. So my suggestion for a pencil is get like the basic one you can find. You're gonna be erasing it anyways. So yeah, that's that. And I've used these pencils since forever, since like middle school, and I've loved them. Like, you know, when you find a pencil that just sticks with your hand, you just go for it. And that's that. And I think, yeah, binder clips. So I do have a bunch of binder clips. So I have 2 sizes because like this was a huge size, but it works for sketchbooks. Like this one, like I can have it on 3 sides, and then it holds down the paper. And this is for like smaller areas as well. You can do that, but I would suggest binder clips, like bigger binder clips. Don't get the small ones. I think I bought those for something else. But yeah, so yeah, those really help. And to hold down your paper if you have like a sketchbook. If you don't have a sketchbook and you're using sheets of paper, you don't really need those. But what you would need is like a board. I do have a board, and I'll link it down below. It's like, I think 11 by 14, I believe. It's a clipboard for artists, and it has like a rubber band or some stuff like that. And I just usually just tape my paper. Like if I'm doing this, I'll tape my paper, measuring out like 1/2 inch on all the sides, and I'll just tape it down like that. So yeah, that is that. Okay, so brushes. Okay, so I would say don't get like the cheap quality kid brushes. Like please don't do that. Don't get those. Those won't work. If you really want to get like a set of brushes, get these. I don't even know how to pronounce this, but these have been really good. And if you do see them frayed or something, that's because my kids bite them. So yeah, that it wasn't me. There are a couple of companies on Amazon which I found their brushes to be like really amazing for the stuff that I do, like loose watercolor florals. I found like over time Artify brushes, they kind of expand, which I like, but obviously it's based on preference. So like when they expand, like the size 10 brush, it expanded a little bit, and that is also because my kids like to go like this with it. Don't go like that with your brush, please don't. And yeah, like when you make the florals, it like gives you a bigger petal, and it looks pretty cool. And you can see this one is like a little frayed, but yeah. So these brushes are really good. I've been using this for gouache, and I have used like some of the sizes that I don't have in my other sets for watercolor, and they actually do pretty good. They're like, you know, this one is firm as you need it. The longer the bristles are going to be, it's going to be a little softer, and yeah, they do pretty good. So I'll link these as well down below. It's like, I don't know, I don't remember how big the set was, but it has like everything. It has like a big flat brush, it has round brushes, it has like a detail brush and everything. So it's a pretty good set if you're looking to get everything in one. It also has a sponge, and it also has a carrying case, so you're covered there as well. And I will also link a couple of other brushes that I find are pretty good. Yeah, the Princeton company makes pretty good brushes. I personally don't use them. I have a couple of brushes from them, but I personally don't use them. I've been really obsessed with Emma LaFave's watercolor brushes, but that's because I have a subscription box, and I've been getting 2 brushes every month. I would not go out and buy a $50 brush set just because I think obviously I would support her and I would do that, but the thing is, like, as a beginner, I wouldn't suggest you go and buy brushes like that right off the bat, because what if you don't want to do watercolor? What if you don't? And then you have these expensive brushes, like, you're just like, oh no, what do I do with these? That's why. Watercolor. So watercolor comes in 2 forms. There's pan sets, and then there's tubes. So you have to figure out which one you like best. I like both. So if you're like one of those people who want to customize your palette, the tubes are for you. So you can buy a singular tube, and you can like set up your palette like this. So this palette, it was white, it was blank, it was pretty. It was pretty clean, I would say. And then I decided to put you know, watercolor in there. So I got the common set. I think it was like a set of 24 or 26. I'm not sure, but I'll link it down below. But yeah, that's what I bought, and I experimented with it a little bit, found some colors I like, found some colors I didn't like, and I just have a lot of colors in here. But yeah, the Cotman brand is amazing. Coming from somebody who's been using it ever since I started watercoloring, the Cotman brand is amazing. You don't need, if you're not selling your art, honestly, I would say you could sell your art with it because it's light fast. It's not as pigmented as it should be, but you know, you can make it work. But yeah, yeah. What was I saying? I got off track. Yeah, the Cotman brand. You can get away with the Cotman brand for just your basic everyday needs, and it's like you don't really need to go out and get more expensive paint. If you're just doing this as a hobby, you really don't. There's a palette by Doodle Hog. I forgot how much it was. I think it was like 15 bucks. That was my first palette ever. It was a 15-buck palette, and I will link it down below. And Doodle Hog also has like a palette that has, I think, 48 colors or something. Don't get that one. That one has a different, I guess, manufacturing company. I don't know, but that paint was horrible because I have that, and I have both of them. What I did was I was like, oh, this one has more colors, I should just, you know, buy the one with more colors. I bought it, and I gave the good one to my daughter, and I was like, you know, she can have fun with it. And she messed up all the colors. Like, she mixed and mashed all the colors up, so that palette isn't even like workable anymore. And then I bought the 48 color one, and it's just chalky. It's like really chalky paint, and it's disgusting. Yeah, you don't want that in watercolor. So for tubes, you can find these on Amazon. Like the set you can find on Amazon, which I will link down below if you just want to like start out. You can use them straight out of the tube, which I don't suggest for beginners because you will use a lot of color. Get like one of these kind of palettes. These are like 10 bucks, maybe cheaper. Just, you know, spread out the colors in there. You have like mixing areas and everything. And yeah, just play around a little bit, figure out what colors you like, figure out what colors you don't like. Like, I found a couple of colors I don't really use in here, so when I do make my palette again, like when, you know, I'm done with this, I won't use those colors. Like, I don't know what colors when I use. I don't use the this one I don't use like a lot, but I do like the color. Like the orange one I don't really use. What else? This one right here, I'm not sure what color it is, but I barely use that one. I barely use that one. I barely use one of these blacks. Payne's Gray, I love Payne's Gray. I don't use this one. And I don't use Viridian Hue as much, but, you know, it's kind of a good color. And then here I use most of these colors, except for this one maybe. I think this is Alizarin Crimson. And yeah. But other than that, yeah. This is like a watercolor palette with tubes, so if you're really into that, I had to get like a pan palette. This is a Doodle Hog tin, by the way. This isn't what the palette, this specific palette looks like. They're, I think, the Arctics ones, and these are like really good paints. They're really pretty and everything, and they have most of the colors you will need. I don't know if they're light fast. I don't think they're light fast, but it was really cheap, and yeah, I use it like to practice sometimes. But my experience is that the paints that you want to use, and like a maybe if you're like thinking about selling your art in the future, the paints that you want to use for that art, I would suggest you practice with them, because then you will figure out what colors are wet, what colors have a lot of pigment, what colors granulate, what colors kind of do their thing. You know, you'll like the same with the brush, like same with brushes. I would suggest you play around with your brushes, figure out what you want, like how your brushes work and everything, and what you want to do with your brushes and just stuff like that. So I have this palette because I don't like to waste a lot of paint when I'm just making random marks or stuff like that. So I do use this palette for that. But I have a couple more palettes from like Art Philosophy, which I don't use. I don't suggest you go out and buy 50 palettes. Don't do that. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna be anything helpful for you. Just buy like one palette. Get like the tubes if you want the tubes. Get the pan palette if you want the pan palette, and that is it. And just play around with those. Like if you have 50 supplies, you want to use everything. You don't use them like that. So just play around with one thing, figure out what's working for you, what's not working for you, and then you can upgrade as time goes on. So that is my experience, knowledge laid out for you in a video. There's nothing really more that I would suggest you get. Maybe get, oh yeah, cups. Get like 2 jars. I have jam jars. We don't really use jam here, so we had jam jars. But you know, jam had gone bad, so I was like, you know what, give these jars to me because I'll use them for my water. So I have 2. Yeah, I have 2. Basically, one I use for cold water, not cold water. Look at me, I'm making coffee over here. I use for cold tone colors. Does that make sense? And the other one for warm tone colors. We'll get more into that. But yeah, so I have 2 for those. Some people use it for clean water, some people use it for dirty water. I use that sometimes too. Sometimes only use 1 cup. Just, you know, depends on what you want to do and what you don't want to do. Yeah. With that being said, I think I covered basically everything. If you do have questions, because I probably missed something, you know, I usually do. I don't plan these videos out, which I should, but I don't. But yeah, if you think I missed anything, let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And oh yeah, watercolor also comes in crayons and pencils. Oh, and brushes. Actually, you know what, let's not get into that. We'll get into that in another video. But it does come in those kind of forms as well. And I haven't really played around with them. I'm not really a huge fan of watercolor brushes. I don't know why. I personally think it's a waste. Like, it's a marker and then you have to have to sit with the water. Like, you could do that with a brush. Like, you can just do that. Yeah, you know, yeah. Watercolor pencils I think are pretty cool, and I do want to get some. Like, I really do want to get my hands on some of those. But you know, we'll see when that happens. But yeah, I will link basically everything I've mentioned down below. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of this video. Remember, if you really want to invest in something, invest in good paper. Okay, with that being said, give this video a like, share it with your friends who likes watercolor, because this will be kind of going on like a regular thing in the future, and I can't wait to do my first tutorial. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.